The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
Welcome to Sephora.
I'm looking for a perfume that's not too perfumey.
I got you.
Serum moisturizer or moisturizer serum.
Let's get into layering.
My concealer is making me look worse.
Sounds like the wrong shade. Let's get you matched.
There's only one store that really gets what you're going for. Get beauty from people who get beauty. Only at Sephora.
Hi, Let's get you a basket.
Guys, I always say we gotta keep our third eye open. And I didn't realize maybe we need to keep our third ear open.
Where's the third ear located? Is it near the third eye? Or is it on the other side of the third eye? Is it still on my head?
Why am I upside down?
I think it's got to be right next to the third eye, right?
No, the ear's on the back.
That'd be a little crowded.
Is the third eye on the back or is it in the forehead?
It's forehead.
Feels like the third eye should be on the back of your head because that's way more advantageous than a third eye looking in the same direction. I need 360 degrees, right? So third eye is in the back of my head.
Third ear, top of the head.
Third ear, top of the head. There you go.
Yeah. What are you picking up with this third ear, Tom?
We received a tip. I keep saying this, if you see something, say something. But if you hear nothing, also say something, which is where this tip is coming from, okay? I got a message from somebody who says, hey, the Mavs used to have their rims mic'd. The swishes and the clanks are the loudest in the league. After the Luka trade, they stopped. My guess, it might have been picking up too many fans yelling shit.
Brutal.
That's incredible.
And then my third ear opened. I didn't even know I had a third ear. And there it goes. Whoop. This is a real thing. The Mavs are famous for having their rims mic'd. And this is something that Mark Cuban engineered and made sure that when the Dallas swishes go through, the dunks go through, it energizes the arena. It gets people excited if they can hear the swish or hear the dunk, not just see it, but feel it. So guys, this is this is crazy. The idea that the Luka trade was so bad that they had to stop miking the rims.
That also means that like the conversation was nonstop. You had the mics on and people were in the crowd. Blah, 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 talking shit the whole time. I've got an update to this story, Tom.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe not to the miking part, but like to the Dallas Mavericks. They just announced a roughly 8% hike in tickets in order to, quote, help finance improvements to the team. The balls on these people.
Wow. They're asking them to pay for Luka getting shipped out. That's nice.
Do you think they have to pay for all the maintenance required to deconstruct the microphones in the rims?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
Got to pay to turn the gain down.
This is from Reuters news report that came out today, citing, quote, ongoing investments in the team and fan engagement. The Mavericks are upping season ticket prices by at least 8.5% next season. This is insane, right? This is gaslighting. I finally figured out, Maze, this is what gaslighting means.
This is it. We finally did it.
Or you say, I got to raise ticket prices. What? Why? Well, because, I've got to invest in fan engagement. Fans aren't engaging with us anymore. Why aren't they engaging with you? Well, it's because we traded the fan favorite in the middle of the night and got an injured dude in return.
You would think the savings from the Luka Supermax would be enough to fund the team.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Mics are getting turned off. Ticket prices are going up. What's next? Heads are falling off.
Here's the story from The Athletic. Tim Cato writing in April of 2022. The headline is, why are the Mavericks rim microphones so loud? Here's the fascinating reason you hear every swish. It's all part of a plan. The business ops, the game ops. Mark Cuban quoted in this story saying, I loved it. I wanted them because I thought it amplified the energy in the arena.
And he was right, because now it's amplifying the negative energy. So they had to get rid of it. But this article is so prescient because it says, if you've ever noticed a television broadcast audio briefly cut out during a basketball game, it's likely those microphones caught something inappropriate that was about to be aired.
Wow.
So they can't have silence. They have to turn it off.
Whatever you do, keep your third eye open. Keep your third ear open as well.
We got to start adding that to the rotation. We got to ask people to keep their third ear open a lot more.
And I'm going to tell you something else. The Dallas Mavericks, that third nut they grew, to have the balls to raise their ticket prices, get rid of it.
No. Keep your third nut open? We're not making that a thing. We are not making keep your third nut open a thing. Please, no.
My assignment. Uncover why the association inspires more conspiracy theories in volume and salience than any other U.S. sport.
You've heard of the Illuminati.
The truth is out there, but so are lies.
Your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
The NBA has always been controlled by about 8 people.
Denial is the most predictable of all human responses.
If you're only using 10% of your brain, you don't even know that you're using 10% of your brain.
The NBA Illuminati.
If coincidences are just coincidences, why do they feel so contrived?
The Illuminati.
But you start to follow the money, and you don't know where the f*** it's going to take you.
It is unspoken. They have influence among other players.
The NBA Illuminati.
I don't have time for your convenient ignorance.
Maybe I'm a conspiracist now as well.
That's all it took. Oh, we got books, we got schools. You saw a video on YouTube.
Why my eyes, sir? You've never used them before.
We are the basketball Illuminati.
This is Basketball Illuminati. I am Tom Haberstroh, and as always, I am joined by the 5-star Illuminarmy generals, Amin Elhassan and producer Anthony Mays.
Members of the Illumination can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/countthedings. You can also show your support by wearing a third eye hat or a Basketball Illuminati shirt or hoodie. Check out the link in the show notes or go to the Count the Dings store on Cotton Bureau and keep that third eye open.
I'm coming to you from a hotel in Portland, watching Toumani Camara taking over the league, pushing Donovan Mitchell to not play, resting in a Sunday matinee. So I'm too scared to go against Toumani Camara. Anyway, got a big show. We got Brandon Payne, Stephen Curry's longtime trainer, has been training Stephen Curry as long as his children have been alive. So we're going to get into the 56-pointer, what Steph sees when he's out on the floor, what he thinks about the Luka Lakers, a guy that he's had, Luka Doncic, in his workouts with Stephen Curry before. He has big thoughts on the Lakers, and Amin drills down. What exactly do you mean? Do they have a chance at winning a championship? We're going to have Brandon Payne, longtime truth teller, onto the program later. But first,
you are listening to The Agenda with Amin Elhassan and Tom Haberstroh.
Who's the face of Basketball Illuminati? Do you think it's kind of like Squid Game, where you can't see the face of the guy who's running the whole thing?
Oh, that's probably better. I was going to say Kyrie. Kyrie's always going to be my patron saint, but yeah, sure. A black mask.
Yeah, Kyrie's the patron saint, but I don't know if he's the face. That seems like a different role.
I'll tell you who I always think of the face of basketball Illuminati, because he was the subject of our very first episode. It's Buddy Hield. I interviewed Buddy Hield at All-Star Weekend, and I just wanted to ask him, you know about that shot that they gave you one less point than you should have gotten for? I chickened out. I didn't end up asking him that. But like, ask me one player in basketball history, I think of Buddy Hield first. And then maybe second, Patrick Ewing.
If you haven't listened, it's the very first episode we did. What was it called, Maze?
Conservation of points.
Yeah, that's right.
Great episode.
A point is taken away. It must come back somewhere else. And it does.
If you're listening to this and you weren't a listener in the beginning, go back and it's an evergreen. It's not like, oh yeah, that doesn't matter anymore. Buddy Hield hit us a 3-pointer, and for some reason, the NBA scorekeeper counted as 2. And even though they did the review and everything afterwards, they never changed it. They shorted him 1 point and 1 3-point field goal made for the season.
It's wild.
Well, we don't have a crisis of trying to find our face of basketball Illuminati. We're set. We're good. The NBA, on the other hand, a little bit of an issue. We got a bunch of old guys tired of carrying the torch, and the young crowd, especially Anthony Edwards, not interested. When asked by Dave McMenamin at All-Star Media Day if he considers himself to be a top candidate for face of the league going forward, he says, not really. Why not? Dave McMenamin follows up, that's what they got Wemby for. I'm capable of being that guy, but I don't want to be that guy. Put it like that. I want to be the guy to just show up and hoop and just kill dudes and go home.
Is this a thing that I just missed out on? Is that maybe during Magic and Larry, they were like, who's the face of the league? Was it like a capital F face that we had to like anoint and crown the face of the league?
So it's not only one face. More than one person can be the face. Magic and Bird were the face of the league in the 80s. Jordan in the 90s. You could say Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant in the early 2000s, and then transitioning to LeBron James and Steph Curry more recently. This is the way I think about it. It's not an official capacity, but it is real. You can't avoid it. Also, you can't self-select.
Yeah.
It has to be bestowed upon you. Now, you can opt out. You can't opt in, but you can opt out.
How do you opt out?
Tim Duncan, Nikola Jokic. Those are 2 guys that opted out. I'm just going to be boring on purpose. I'm not going to do any of the things that would be required of someone being the face of the league, because it's not just about being good. You also have to have some amount of charisma to it. Now, there are players that would like to be face of the league, but could never be. For instance, Jason Tatum, great basketball player, winner, champion, wants to be face of the league, I believe, can never be it. Just doesn't have the oomph, the it. So no matter how hard he tries, he's never going to get there. Versus Victor Wembanyama, inexperienced, hurt right now, pretty good, but never been on a winning team. It's almost destined for him. Why? Because beyond the talent and the desire, he also has that je ne sais quoi, that charisma that is required of being the face of the league.
But he does say quoi because he speaks French.
He does.
Well, 2 weeks later, after Anthony Edwards' comments, the Lakers beat the Wolves 111-102, and LeBron chimed in. Our current face of the league, speaking about potential future face of the league, Anthony Edwards. Here's what he had to say.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but like, I don't know. Why do you want to be the face of the league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? I mean, have that responsibility. It's just weird. It's weird energy from the people that I don't know, but Channing, he said it. He said it perfectly. Couldn't have said it no better. But Ant said he don't want it. Obviously I didn't ask for it, but I knew there was a responsibility for me, not only to my family, my friends, my community, and whoever that was going to follow my journey throughout my career. Not only in Ohio when I started there, but all over America and all over the world when I traveled all over the world. So. I've always taken that seriously and understood from the beginning what being a professional was all about and being a role model was all about. So try to hold that with the utmost respect and honor. And but I feel I understand. I completely understand. This is weird energy when it comes to that. So.
And guess what? Guess what? He incited a media firestorm.
Of course he did.
Face of the league, LeBron James opened himself up to becoming the #1 topic on everybody's agenda on Friday, including none other Then face of First Take, Stephen A. Smith, who went on a 5-minute rant where he brought in Gilbert Arenas and Brian Windhorst to watch him rant for 5 minutes, including this part.
And then when he talks about people covering the league, we know he talks about people like me. Damn it, I'm going to say it. I'm going to be cocky enough to say I'm one of the people he alluded to. That's nonsense. I challenge anybody to show somebody that loves the NBA and supports the NBA more than me. You got NFL stuff going on. I can talk about the NFL 24/7. What other show you see on national television talking about the NBA more than me outside of NBA TV? Nobody. Players. Former players, current players, always welcome, no problem. And you look at it, and he's not just talking about people like me. He talked about inside the NBA. He didn't say their names. We know who you alluded to.
I know he's talking about me.
That's awesome.
Such a great line.
The ego is so good. It's undeniable.
Is he wrong? I don't think he's wrong. I think LeBron is absolutely thinking about Stephen A. there.
I think Charles and those guys thought he was talking about them.
Ooh.
He did acknowledge it could be inside the NBA as well. And then game, set, and match, LeBron. Here comes a 3-tweet thread the next day after watching this First Take appearance. Exactly. Made my point. But anyways, happy this convo started. It ain't about the face of the game, and it ain't about one person or one show, Stephen A. It's about the culture of basketball, the most beautiful game in the world. Our game has never been better. Incredible young stars from all over the world, and some older ones. Crying face emoji. Steph Curry should be all we are talking about today. Let's discuss how great OKC and the Cavs have been this season with two completely different styles and break down why and how they have. Of course, if players don't perform, we need to discuss that too and break that down. A lot of talk about breaking stuff down. A couple more tweets after that, followed by hashtag Mind the Game.
And there it is.
Yeah, sounds like he wants to do Mind the Game again.
There it is.
Why can't they do Mind the Game?
Yeah, it's funny because LeBron's schedule and time commitments really haven't changed since last year. This is all JJ Redick's fault as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Again, we have to keep our third ear open that Mind the Game podcast is probably coming. And this is a little bit of a tease here by LeBron, right? This is one giant ad for Mind the Game.
Let me be a podcast producer for a second. Wouldn't Rondo be a great replacement for Redick?
Oh, wow.
Obviously really smart, knows the game inside and out, knows everyone's playbook by heart, like the sort of weird photographic memory that LeBron has. We know he has a positive relationship with LeBron. They play together. They won a championship together in LA in the bubble. That feels like a perfect match, right? They should just re-up the thing. And by the way, Rondo is another guy who has what? Aspirations of being a head coach somewhere. So the last guy that had a podcast with LeBron ended up head coaching the Lakers. Why not Rondo being the head coach somewhere else after doing a stint on Mind the Game?
Interesting. Does Rondo drink red wine?
I believe he does.
Okay, because that is a crucial component of Mind the Game is
someone drinking.
Having a nice glass of classy Beaujolais or what have you. Does Rondo have a podcast production company? Another crucial element of Mind the Game. Or is it still under the JJ Redick umbrella?
Technically, this is still under, what's the name of their company?
342.
342, yeah. So this is still a Gallagher production over here, man. This is like him replacing hosts on American Idol. Seacrest still has his claws in this shit. Again, the end game isn't to build a podcast company for Rondo. The end game is to get a head coaching job somewhere.
Stepping stone. Got it.
I just fixed it, guys.
Thanks, Amin.
So we fixed the regular season last episode.
But I'm the face of podcast producing at Basketball Illuminati, so I need you to back off.
I apologize. Real quick, back on the face of the NBA thing. I also like the idea that not being the face of the NBA brings some sort of immunity from criticism. That's LeBron's point. It's like, why would you want to do that and then get criticized all the time like I do, basically, is what he's saying. But the reality is we criticize everybody, right? Everyone gets criticized. If you're good, you're going to get criticized unless you're just so incomparably good while being so incomparably boring, in which case people just shrug and say, well, yeah, but he doesn't count. That's how we were with Tim Duncan, right? We try to find criticisms, and at some point it's like, whatever. We're not talking about you. We're talking about Shaq and Kobe over here, right? So Anthony Edwards, they're your solution. If you don't want to be the face of the NBA, I would say stop being so damn compelling and interesting.
Yeah, be boring. Be more like Tim Duncan.
You like Tim Duncan.
But do we count the faces? We don't count the faces. Hey, this guy's really good. But how many years was he the face of the NBA?
Yeah, I don't think it works like that. I don't think anyone who's the face could be the face for only a year.
Right.
Grant Hill would be the closest thing. Was the face? Maybe not. Right. And that was a combination of Grant Hill was a rookie that first year when Jordan was retired. That second year, oh, maybe it's Grant Hill. That third year, yeah. And then Jordan's like, I'm back. Give that shit back to me.
Well, it seems like a PR, public relations, media-facing responsibility. And that's what Anthony Edwards doesn't want to concern himself with. He just wants to hoop.
That's a lie.
Wemby, super media trained, right?
Yep.
Maybe that's what he's talking about. Make Wemby do all the interviews. Make him talk to the press. Make him answer questions about the state of the league. So it's more of a politician's role than a basketball player role.
Let me tell you something. If you don't want to be face of the league, you don't get to have a signature shoe. Kind of goes hand in hand.
Wow.
You got a shoe, you got to be some sort of face. Maybe not the face, but a face. You don't want a shoe, you could be like Tim Duncan, right? Does Nikola Jokic have a shoe? I don't know. Nobody knows. You know why? Because he's not a face.
Tim Duncan did have a shoe, though.
He had a shoe briefly in the beginning when he realized, ew, I don't want to be the face of the league. And then that was it.
Ew.
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 That's what he said. He said, ew.
Ew.
Tim Duncan and Jokic, they both have super interesting parts of their lives that they just don't share with everyone else, right? Like Tim Duncan was a swimmer, only started playing basketball because a hurricane destroyed the swimming pool that he grew up playing. We don't talk about that.
Elite at paintball.
Elite at paintball. Loves Dungeons and Dragons, right? Nikola Jokic loves horse racing. When he was a youth in Serbia, they would have practice at this court that was right by the horse stables because that was the only way they could get him to practice.
Wow. All right. Well, if it's not Anthony Edwards, and it's not Wemby because he's currently out, could it be Luka?
Ooh.
On the Lakers? Could LeBron pass that torch right down the locker room? I don't know.
He's got a shoe with the Jordan brand, former face of the league, Jordan.
He's got a Lamborghini with the Jordan brand too.
Man.
Does LeBron pass it or does he have to check with Steph Curry first? Because, Steph Curry, technically, he has a share of face of the league right here. Can't pass it off yet. Scoring 56 points.
Well, if only we had someone on the show that maybe down the road we could ask about whether Steph would want to pass the baton of the face baton to Luka Doncic. They've had him in the same workouts before, so maybe they know. Maybe they've already discussed this.
Wait, how do you know that Luka Doncic has been in the same workouts as Steph Curry?
Oh, because I know this guy, Brandon Payne, who runs the workouts for Stephen Curry, and he sent me video of Luka Doncic and Stephen Curry playing together.
We should talk to him.
Yeah, we should. He's keeping his third eye open, his third ear open as well. Brandon Payne of Accelerate Basketball, based here in Charlotte, North Carolina, coming to join the show once again to talk about Stephen Curry after 56 points and LeBron James and Luka Doncic that he foresees with his third eye. They are championship material.
Listener, listen up. This is important, okay? I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago, and I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's D-I-N-G-S. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Hello, listener. It's producer Maze here to talk to you about Kindred. Now close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination, because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred, and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS. Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with the cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings.
Through the Starbucks College Achievement Plan, full and part-time Starbucks baristas receive 100% upfront college tuition coverage so they can focus on achieving their dreams, not how they'll pay for school. And those dreams might start with a degree in management, biochemistry, or any of the more than 150 offered. At Starbucks, benefits like college tuition coverage are just the start. Learn more at starbucks.com/partners.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
You all think I'm late. Well, I'm not late. And I'm going to stay right here and fight for this lost cause, even if this room gets filled with lies like these. And the Taylors and all their armies come marching into this place. Somebody will listen to me.
There's no better way to overpower a trickle of doubt than with a flood of naked truth.
But the complexity and the gray lie not in the truth, but what you do with the truth once you have it.
What is true and right is true and right for all.
You and I both know that that's just not the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Too messy. Keeps them up nights.
I'm here because in the end, the truth is worth the risk.
Speak a little truth and people lose their minds.
I'm a grown man, you can tell me the truth.
Why is it people who want the truth never believe it when they hear it?
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something really outrageous. I'm going to tell the truth.
We all know that Brandon Payne is a truth teller on this program. I mean, Maze, we've had him many times where he calls his shot and we think, oh, he's being bold or he's saying something that's a little hot take, maybe just to get it out there.
Sometimes.
I kind of feel like, Maze, I owe him an apology.
For what?
He texted me on the morning of February 7th. That was right after the trade deadline. He sent me a text and it reads right here, guys. The Lakers are good enough to win the championship this year.
Okay.
There I said it, Brandon says. Lakers Cavs finals. End text. And I'm sitting here be like, man, this is getting a little too excited over this Luka Doncic trade. They don't have a center. LeBron's 40 years old. Well, and Brandon comes out here and says,
did they have a center when he sent that text? Did they have a center who then got sent back?
That's a good question. Well, let's bring in Brandon and ask him, did you say that with the assumption that Mark Williams was in the trade and still going to be a Laker?
I did not. I did not take that into account, believe it or not. I did not. I was basing it just on the Luka LeBron dynamic and the ability to make those around them better. And I'm also a firm believer in JJ Redick, just like I am in Kenny Atkinson. And I think that they're both doing a great job with their teams. And, I watch the Lakers and some of the things they run after timeouts, and I'm just blown away. And I think they're doing a good job. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to win it. I think that they are good enough to have a chance to win it.
Don't backpedal now. You can't do that.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm not going to backpedal.
Define what's a chance. What is a chance?
Well, I think that they have more pieces available to them to be kind of flexible in how they approach opponents.
No, I don't want to cut you off.
I got you.
I'm not asking about the Lakers. I'm asking, define what a chance to win it means. Because I think that then informs the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, I think they're good enough to win the Western Conference to put themselves into the finals.
Okay, now you can give us your cockamamie explanation.
Okay. I think that when you have a situation where in a playoff series, you're going to have the two best players on the floor in a lot of situations. I think that's hard to overcome in a 7-game series. I know that there's some size challenges. I know that there's, there's still maybe some shooting that's not quite where it needs to be. But again, I think that I kind of watched them against Denver. Maybe it was last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago. And some of the ways that they approached defending Denver was interesting. And I think it gave them a look at some things that they could do in a 7-game series to have success if that was a matchup. Now the other teams have gotten better in the West too since that text, but I just think that LeBron and Luka, that's going to be a lot for teams to handle in a 7-game series.
Why?
Well, because I think they both possess the ability to elevate everybody around them quite a bit. And it's really, most teams have one of those guys, but they have two. And so, depending on how they choose to stagger the minutes as the game goes, you're looking at a situation where you never have a minute without one of those guys on the floor. And, most other teams have time where that player is off the floor and they have these, the non-Steph minutes. They have these, they have those types of situations. And so for me, the ability to play 48 minutes of having difference makers on the floor, that goes a long way, especially when it doesn't have to be 40 minutes of a 40-year-old decision maker that has to be out there.
All right. So these are my concerns. My concerns, obviously, the obvious one is the size. They don't have anything by way of a center rotation. Jackson Hayes, Christian Coloco, Alex Len, that is not a center rotation. They're going to play a lot of small ball with Dorian Finney-Smith and Jared Vanderbilt basically playing in, which against some teams could work. The problem is when you look at the Lakers' path through the playoffs, projected path through the playoffs, pretty much almost all of them have them seeing Denver in the second round. And to me, what we saw against Denver on one Saturday in February is the exact kind of fool's gold that people, not you, Brandon, but people fall for. It's like, oh, they did it, right? Not realizing a couple of things. Number one is we know that Jokic, is smart enough to adjust. You can, let's just assume that it's not because he was lazy. It's not because he didn't care. They tried his best, but the fronting strategy that the Lakers used was effective. but he's like an algorithm in that you show it to him. I almost feel like they messed up by showing it to him in a regular season game because now he's got time to think about it and like, okay, next time you try this is what I'm going to do. Number two, I think Michael Malone is an excellent in-game adjuster. Excellent. One of the best in the league. We don't know what kind of in-game adjuster JJ Redick is because he's never done it before, respectfully. So in these cases, we look at who are his chief lieutenants. Scott Brooks, Nate McMillan. Two men who are notorious for not making adjustments. In the case of Scott Brooks, the 2012 NBA Finals, right? Eric Spoelstra moves Bosh to the 5, Shane Battier at the 4. Scott Brooks says, no, we won all these games with Perk at 5. I'm never changing. Even though they had the personnel to match that change. And to this day, still defends that move, right? Nate McMillan, I can give you an even more personal example. We played Portland in the first round of the playoffs in 2010. Portland had given us problems all year long. They're up 2-1 in the series. Alvin Gentry makes the move of saying, okay, I'm going to put Grant Hill on Andre Miller, because Andre Miller gave Steve Nash so much problems because Andre was such a big guard. And because we knew, both from their history and because Channing Frye had been in Portland the year before, that Nate McMillan looked at Nick Batum as all you do is sit in the corner. So we're like, your size is never going to come into play. Steve, you guard him. And checkmate. We never lost another game. Those are his two assistants. So the fact that they got a little bit of success defending in that way, I don't know if they'll be able to make the adjustments that Jokic and Michael Malone will be able to make throughout the course of a 7-game series. I'm going to pause there because I have more objections.
Yeah, more objections. Okay, well, I would kind of counter by saying I felt in watching that game closely that they actually deployed several different strategies that they got pieces of throughout that game. And I thought that the way they defended him in multiple cases was effective. Now, are you ever going to completely stop or slow down him? No, you're not. You're just trying to make him somewhat manageable when he's out there. And he's probably the greatest player on the planet right now for a reason. So I kind of feel like you can't defend him the exact same way every game in a 7-game series. You're going to have multiple ways, multiple looks you attack him. The way I always talk about it is you take the greatest basketball players in the world, and your job as a coach is you got to turn basketball players into thinkers. Because when you turn basketball players into thinkers, you slow them down. And so I think that having multiple defensive strategies against them when you don't have the size to match them is probably the route you're going to have to take. And you're going to have several things in your pocket that you can go to. And I don't necessarily disagree with you about the two lieutenants there, but I have been very impressed by JJ Redick's creativity through the year and his ability to get his guys ready to go.
Let's not forget that he has another two lieutenants in Luka Doncic and LeBron James in terms of in-game adjustments, right?
They're pretty good. Yeah.
You talk about Luka Doncic carrying the Dallas Mavericks to the NBA Finals last year and the kind of counters that he had to make in those series. There's that. And also, Luka hasn't even played all that well.
Tom, may I rebut? Yeah, Luka making adjustments. What adjustments did he do in the finals against the Celtics?
Well, I think an adjustment of having LeBron James this year will be a pretty big one.
Obviously, they're two of the smartest players in the league right now, in LeBron's case ever. Also, I know that there are players that are smart and say, no, it'll work. I don't need to change anything. Like, if there was anyone who believed in self and like, I don't need to adjust, Luka Doncic for sure fits that mold. The other thing that happened in those finals, Tom, was a Dallas Mavericks three-point offense had been very effective throughout the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, went silent. Well, the Lakers, everyone likes to talk about how good they've been defensively since the trade, and they have. They are 19th in three-point shooting since the trade. Here are their top three-point attempters and their percentages. Luka Doncic averaging 8.8 attempts a game, 27% from 3. LeBron James, 7.3 attempts per game, 42.5% from 3. Austin Reeves, 7.2 attempts, 31.9. Gabe Vincent, 5.9 attempts, 30.5. Rui Hachimura, 5.4 attempts, 34.7. Dorian Finney-Smith, 4.2 attempts, 31% from three. You get to Dalton Connect, the redheaded stepchild, 3.8 attempts, 40% from three. And then from there on, it's guys that don't really play. This team does not have the shooting. I don't care what Luka and LeBron are doing.
No, I look at it the opposite way. I say this team has shown a much better shooting in their careers, that this is just a cold streak, that obviously Luka Doncic is going to shoot 27%.
I don't think Luka is a great shooter. I think he's a great volume shooter, but his percentages don't say that. I don't think Austin Reeves is a great shooter. I think he's a good shooter, but not a great shooter. I think Rui Hachimura has been a good shooter since he got acquired. But that's, again, like a year and a half of information for us. I don't think Gabe Vincent is a good shooter at all, but although he fooled people because of 2 hot rounds in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Dorian Finney-Smith is the only guy I look at as like, yeah, he's way better than that.
I think you look at when you have a major addition like Luka and you're bringing him into a brand new situation, they're having to learn how to play together. In my experience, when you're dealing with shooters and they're shooting maybe not as well as they normally do or are not up to their standards or abilities, a lot of times we look at shot selection as the major culprit as to why the percentages are down and why things aren't going as well as they should have. And when you're trying to fit in somebody new and you're trying to run things around another ball dominant player, defining what is a good shot for him, defining what is a good shot for his teammates in a situation where maybe him and LeBron are on the floor, or what is a good shot for his teammates when it's just LeBron on the floor. Those things, to me, take a little bit of time to iron out. Now, are they going to magically become great shooters? No, they're not. But can they kind of get back towards what they're at? I always say averages are averages for a reason. Can they get back towards what they've always averaged? Maybe, as shot selection starts to figure itself out.
You mentioned shot selection. Dean Oliver just tweeted out, he's the director of analytics over at ESPN, who wrote the book about analytics in basketball on paper. He just tweeted out that the Lakers with Luka Doncic has, here it is. Hold on, I'm pulling it up right here. Luka has 19 assists to LeBron, highest of any Lakers combo since the trade. LeBron's shot quality on those assists has been a crazy high 76%, according to Second Spectrum data tracking. And I went further and found that Luka has already assisted LeBron 19 times, which is more than he's assisted Derek Lively. Luka has assisted Derek Lively this season in just 8 games with LeBron. A lot of those are these touchdown passes that I've watched many times over. And Brandon, I still can't see when Luka sees LeBron. I haven't figured it out. Like, when you're watching these two play basketball, is it simply that they have this wavelength that everyone else can't tap into except for Luka and LeBron can tap into? Like, what do they have, a third, fourth, and a fifth eye? Like, what is it?
I think that they finally found somebody that thinks basketball the same way that they do, which is hard. And I think that, when you look at, everybody always talks about the Olympic team and why all those guys had such a great time together. It's because when Steph and LeBron were around each other, they were finally with somebody that fully understood everything that they understand, not only from a basketball standpoint, but from the celebrity standpoint and what the day-to-day life of being that person is. So, with LeBron and Luka being on the same team, they finally have people that kind of can think and see things the same way that they do, because it's not normal. They're great for a reason, and they see things the way that great players see it. And it's hard for every other player to see it that way and play that way.
Brandon, here's a question for you. I don't think we've ever asked this. How does Steph Curry see basketball? Like, give me an example of a time where he explains something and you're like, holy shit, this guy's thinking of the game in such a completely different way.
It's funny because he kind of sees it the way I do, but that's kind of too long horn there. But
okay, Brandon, someone next to you.
Somebody almost as good as me at seeing basketball. Steph is almost as good as me. He's always thinking, we're always looking for space. Let's just for instance, let's talk about when he gives the basketball up. Just when he gives it up, we're very rarely looking for space on the same side of the floor. We're always looking opposite, and he's always thinking 2 to 3 passes ahead. And he's working through kind of all these different permutations as when he gives up the ball, I can get it here, I can get it here. But his first thought is always, I got to go get somebody else open first. And so he thinks, his way of thinking basketball is, I need to create opportunities for my teammates to create opportunities for myself. And part of that is stature and size and skill set. And I think that, honestly, LeBron James is the same way, because he's always been he's always been a great teammate, a great facilitator, that has worked as hard as he could to get everybody involved. And as much as ball dominant as Luka has been in his career, I kind of feel the same way. Now, his way of creating opportunities for teammates is a little bit different. He has to do it via sacrifice driving. And what we term as sacrifice drive is you're driving into an area of the floor where you know there's not a shot for yourself, but you know that a hard drive here, you're sacrificing, you're going to get a shrink and you're going to get a move here. Or he creates hockey assists, things like that. With Stephen, the way he sees it differently, I mean, I'll give you an example. I'm starting to do some videos to break these things down for people. He gets into ball screen situations where he will stretch the ball screen out to keep the hard high hedge or the doubled on him long enough, knowing that he's not going to throw that pass to the roller. He's going to hold the double team long enough, and he's going to hit a one more, and then there's going to be a diagonal pass to the roller. So he's thinking of how to control and manipulate the help, and he's thinking the next guy's going to make the play. And I kind of think that, LeBron and Luka are on that same wavelength of thinking past their own nose, which I know is kind of a different concept for a lot of players, but they think they play with great responsibility to their teammates, and they play winning basketball based off creating opportunities for other players, even though their shot numbers might be really, really high. They do that because that's what their team needs them to do to win, on top of creating opportunities. But that's how to me, that's how they see the game and play the game.
So it's funny that you should mention that particular aspect, because that was Steve Nash, right? We had a play called Fist Up Short. That was literally, we're going to run a pick and roll. Steve's not going to get the assist on this. He's going to give it to the guy who flashes here, who then hits the roll man as he's rolling. And it's all based on, it's playing on the fears of the opponent, right? They're so worried about this action and this thing right now that they're not thinking 2 and 3 plays in advance, as you just pointed out right there.
Well, and then on top of that, kind of building on what you were saying right there, I mean, as you start to run and you end up running the same actions multiple times, you start to think about how the help is going to react to seeing that action again. And you start to think about, okay, if I'm taking the ball towards the right side of the floor and the guy that's responsible for the weak corner is going to start to tag on that roller, now I'm going to throw that hook pass back over to the weak corner after we run it on the +1 on the dive one time. So Steph is kind of, it's kind of like being an offensive coordinator in football. Sometimes you run the same play a few times just to set up, a reverse, or you set up something going back in the other direction. And there aren't many players that can play with the ball in their hands, do everything they have to do, be a scorer, and be able to think through all those things. And I think that, you look at a guy like Steph, LeBron, Luka. I mean, I don't want to get into mentioning too many, because there are other guys out there that can do that. I'm sure I'm going to forget some, but they're just different level thinkers. And a lot of it's experience. It's just, you've seen it. You've had teams take things away from you. You've had to come up with strategies on the fly. It's funny, before Steph ever got into the playoffs, we used to always talk about, he'd always say, well, that's what you have to do in the playoffs, or so I've heard. He didn't really know until he got there. And then he got there a couple of times. And then we started to kind of approach things differently, because we saw that, we got into a series with the Spurs and they defended them in a way we'd never thought somebody would defend them. And we had to come up with an entire new way to create space based off of what they did. And it's just different in the playoffs. So you have to be able to think that way to have success in those 7-game series. And to me, having 2 of those guys, I know they're limited size wise. I know they're limited from a shooting standpoint, but having 2 of those guys that can think that way on the floor, it's going to be hard to beat 4 times in 7 games.
Whether your business has 6 floors or 6 employees, Walmart Business has everything you need to save time, money, and hassle. You can restock your break room with bulk ordering or bulk up your ordering team with shared payments. And you can get it all delivered straight to your business's door, whether that's on Wall Street or Main Street. Walmart Business. It's the Walmart you love, now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
Don't chew on that, Max.
Cooper loves that chew too.
Oh, now he's into Cooper's food. Wow, he is loving it. What do you feed Cooper?
Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula. He never leaves a crumb. I love it because it's made with high-quality protein, nutrient-rich fruits and veggies, and wholesome whole grains.
Looks like we're switching to Blue.
Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac Extra Value Meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
I want to talk about Steph and the recent addition that he got on his team, a very fiery personality that everyone's looking at like, hey, once this guy came aboard, everything changed. And I'm talking, of course, about Quentin Post.
Oh, man.
So, Brandon.
So fiery.
Talk to me about Quentin Post. I'm serious. You've been big on this for a while, as that Post does change a lot for the Warriors. And we'll get to Jimmy Butler III in a second. But
oh, yeah, Jimmy Butler's there too. Yeah.
Quentin Post, dude.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a built-in advantage here because I was at training camp and I was around before training camp, and I got a chance to see Quentin Post work out with the team and go through his individual stuff before the season. I was actually talking with Mike Dunleavy. We were watching him one day. I was like, man, that guy, if he can figure out how to just move and play at the pace you have to play at the NBA level, I think he can be a difference maker for you down the road. I didn't think it would be now. I did not think it would be today. But the way that he is growing into his role and the way that he is, at first he accepted his role, then he starred in his role, and now he's getting the opportunity to expand his role because he's performed so well in it. It's been really impressive. And, I think that there's obviously still some things defensively in terms of diagnosing actions and understanding how to rotate, understanding how to play certain types of action at the NBA level that he still has to learn in order to be able to be effective in the playoffs. But just right now in this regular season, having a stretch 5 out there that is, pretty consistently hitting threes now. And he's even added, cleaning up some junk around the basket that he's done that the past few games. It's been really interesting to watch him grow and watch his confidence grow. It seems like every game I watch him, he's standing a little taller. He's got a new celebration after a three. He's kind of starting to feel himself a little bit. And now you see the Warriors they're looking for him a lot, and he's hitting them.
What happens when Kuminga gets back?
I think you might find out tonight or soon. I was just at shoot around and he was going through a workout. He looked pretty good. They look good. How they handle that, I don't know. I think they're probably going to be a little bit cautious with Kuminga. He's never had an injury like this before. So, he's still, Stephen always says there's a skill to being injured. You have to know how, you got to understand that it's not so much how you feel during the workouts. It's how you feel the next day. It's how your body responds. It's your ability to communicate how you're feeling. So I think that they've been ramping him up. And I watched him do a little bit of 3-on-3 stuff with some of the coaches today. He looked sharp. He looked pretty good. But 3-on-3 with the coaches is not 5-on-5 at the NBA level. So I think that I think he's fairly close. And I think that certainly adds another dimension. Now, what role he takes on, I don't know, because they found some units that are working pretty well together.
Brandon, is it weird to say that I feel like the ceiling on this Warriors team is kind of depending on what they do in those non-Steph minutes? Because earlier this season, when Steph would be off the floor, they could not tread water. And it almost beckoned him to be like playing 40 minutes in the regular season. They get Jimmy Butler on the team. And the numbers that I pulled up for Tom the Finder this week I was kind of floored by it, is the fact that Steph and Jimmy Butler on the floor together, they're plus 28. Just raw plus minus, plus 20. They outscored opponents by 28 points in the 149 minutes. That works out to about like a plus 8 net rating. But when Jimmy's playing without Steph on the Warriors, in 92 minutes, they're plus 38. Net rating plus 23.
It's all Steph's fault.
Yeah, it's all Steph. Sit down for a while.
Yeah, Steph, maybe you need to move on. Yeah. Steph is actually hashtag not better. But what are you seeing with Jimmy Butler? And he's the most I don't know. I mean, do you think there's one more polarizing than Jimmy Butler as like a basketball player in the NBA?
Is it his basketball play though? Like, he's polarizing. I don't think for his basketball play. It's for what happens when he sours on a situation.
Yeah, but he doesn't shoot threes as a guard. Giannis Antetokounmpo doesn't shoot threes. Okay, that's fine. Other bigs don't shoot threes. But when you have a guard whose entire job is to drive and get to the rim and get foul calls, it is a pretty different archetype than what we've seen in the league.
I think he's a guard, and Brandon, I definitely want to hear what you think about this. But to me, he's a guard in the same way Gary Payton's a guard. Like, Gary Payton's a guard, but the Warriors figured out, let's just play him at the 4. He'll defend whoever he defends, but offensively he's going to be our 4-man, and he'll be a roll man, and he'll be in the dunker box and all that stuff, and that led them all the way to a title. Like, that realization, one of the things that really helped that year. And I think Jimmy Butler is like, imagine Gary Payton was an offensive powerhouse, like less athletic, but like in terms of back to the basket game, getting to the free throw line, dominating in the paint. That's Jimmy Butler, and so. We could say he's a guard and he doesn't shoot threes, or we could say he's a really, really good undersized power forward, and in which case you kind of see, oh, wow, he's actually exactly what kind of they need as a counterbalance.
He's a really good basketball player.
Yeah, there you go.
I understand the notion of saying guard or big, but to me, he's a really good basketball player, and he's kind of brought something that they were missing. I think that, how much the production has changed since the trade, I don't know. I think that just having a change energized them, and then he seamlessly kind of came in and found his way very quickly. And it's nice to have somebody that gets to the free throw line. It's nice to have somebody that can get there and get there consistently. And he's just brought some toughness. And I think he's enjoying himself. It's, just today, the guy looks like he's genuinely having a really good time. And that's an easy group to have a good time with. It's a group of guys that are professional. It's, Coach Kerr is a pros coach. He's a coach, a player's coach, but he expects everybody to be a professional in the building. And I think that it's a good situation from a personality standpoint, because Steph is a leader. He can kind of mix in with anybody. And, they're energized. I can say that. I felt like they were kind of flat before the trade. And the trade has had an impact from an energy standpoint that I didn't really anticipate, but it's been nice to see.
What is it like having Stephen come back home, at least for this game? You're in Charlotte and you're going to the game, shoot around back home. Don't you kind of wish that you were around Stephen a lot more so you could help, hey, I got some ideas. Let's see it out on the floor. Come on. Are you recruiting him to the Hornets? Like, when is this going to happen?
No, I think we're good right there in Golden State now, but it's nice to have him here. I can't imagine, all the ways he's being pulled when he gets, it's kind of crazy. I took my sons to shoot around this morning because I know how crazy the game is going to be tonight. So post game for him, and they got to go to New York tonight because they got a back-to-back in New York tomorrow. Post game for him tonight, I believe, would probably be comprised of a section and a half of people, like a full section and a half of people from family to high school to Davidson to just friends, people that have known him for a long time. So, when he comes into town, I tell my kids, if we're going to see him, you need to go see him before the game, because after the game he's going to be kind of busy. And on top of that, you guys get to spend all summer with him. So you're kind of, if you don't catch him today, you'll see him in a couple months. But yeah, it's kind of a crazy thing for him to come home.
That's got to be an awesome call to the attendance line. Yeah, they're not going to be in today because they've got to go to shoot around and go watch Steph Curry.
Yeah,
get ready to demolish the Hornets.
They get some perks. They've had a good childhood, certainly. The problem is they've known him since my youngest son's known him his entire life, and my oldest son was too when I started working with Steph. So they don't really know any different. So they're kind of numb to it at this point.
There's a big conversation going on around the league about who's the face of the NBA, who's going to take the throne from Stephen and KD and LeBron. Your kids, who do they latch on to the most? Like which NBA player is biggest among the kids' generation coming up?
Well, I mean, mine, they're still enamored with Steph. Steph's their guy. I think that, you got to understand both my kids are shooters, so they're going to watch guys that shoot the basketball. But if you talk to some of their teammates, I hear a lot of Jason Tatum. I hear a lot of Anthony Edwards. Those are those guys. I hear that a lot. I hear, there's some LaMelo balls here in Charlotte.
Of course.
I would imagine there's a lot more of those in Charlotte just because, he seems to resonate with kids of a certain age. And obviously he's the local guy.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that Tatum was one of the names because I don't, and this isn't about Tatum as a player, obviously, but I just don't think I see, from when I see kids play, I see a lot more. This is my unofficial, kind of litmus test. The sneakers. I see a lot of Anthony Edwards sneakers. I see a lot of LaMelo Ball, those ugly ass Pumas with they have 8 million colors going on. I see a lot of those. I see, a bunch of obviously the Jordans and LeBrons and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever seen anyone wearing Tatums.
I think the Tatum thing around here is there's a Duke connection here. Yeah, there's, so we hear a lot of that. So, there haven't been many Carolina guys lately. So, you're going to get more Duke around here, unfortunately, than Carolina. Hopefully that'll change soon. But I think there's some of that. But with my kids being on the shoe circuits and playing AAU, we definitely see a lot of the Anthony Edwards. That was kind of the popular shoe that we saw when we weren't playing the Under Armour stuff last year. So I think you're right. The shoe stuff tells you a lot about the players.
Well, he had 56 the other night, and we've had you on a bunch of times where it's he continues to surprise me, where you're his coach, his personal skills trainer and coach, and you've known him for as closely as anybody has known basketball or him as a basketball player.
All his children's lives, pretty much.
That's right. What'd you see? 56 from Stephen. He's turning 37 here.
They needed all 56 of them. That's what I saw. It was a game where they weren't very good early in the game. And I said this on the radio the other day. To me, momentum in the season is a real thing as a team. And you didn't want to start this 6-game road trip. You just started to kind of build this momentum. You didn't want to start this road trip with a loss in Orlando that was preventable. And so, especially the Suggs didn't play and they're missing some pieces down there. So they needed that not only to win that game, but to keep that momentum kind of going. And then, you had Saturday night where Butler didn't play and they kind of took a small step backwards. But to me, if you go on a 6-game road trip and you get out of it 4-2 or 5-1, you're keeping that momentum going at the right time of the year, especially folding in new pieces where you're trying to work towards figuring out what's going to work in the playoffs. Because I do think that they are now in a much, much better position to be competitive in the playoffs. And I think the Western Conference, the landscape kind of adjusted a little bit now. I do think that Memphis is fun to watch, and I think they're very good. I think that I love watching Houston play defense. But I just think that, you've got Oklahoma City, who's incredibly dynamic and just loaded at every position. The Lakers and the Warriors and the Nuggets. That's a tough group to battle through.
What I heard there was, I'm not surprised by 56.
No, I mean, it could happen tonight. With him, it only takes one going in the right way.
No.
Like you listen to guys that play baseball and you hear them where they talk about when they hit it and they know it's gone because it just hit the bat in the right spot and you barely feel it and the thing goes 450 feet. Stephen's kind of the same way. It just takes one basketball going in the net the exact right way, and there's an avalanche coming behind it. And and you can kind of see it. I can see it at least. I can see it in his body language after he hits it.
Yeah, because you guys are as smart as each other.
That's right. Almost.
Share a brain.
He's almost as smart as me. He's close. Almost.
Get it straight. Sorry. Yeah.
Is that as simple as he got the exact formula and now it's easy for him to Xerox the formula on the release or something like that?
You know, and he even talked about it after the game because they said, hey, you know, what is it about Orlando that, you know, because he's had some big games down there. And he talked about the lighting in Orlando and the way that, you know, the way that the backdrop looks and how the rim looks when he shoots, especially from certain angles. And then we've had the opposite. We've had the Staples Center problem where, you know, there was a time early in his career where we played in the Staples Center against the Lakers because they had the theater lighting. The lighting was different and the way that the backdrop looked was different. And there was an adjustment to make, and he didn't shoot there very well there for a few games. And then he kind of figured it out.
What's the fix?
Having success.
Confidence.
That's really the fix. It is having success, seeing a couple go in the right way. You know, some of it is just getting past your own mental block on things like that. Like, you know, you don't want to start to create excuses for yourself, but even for the greatest player in the world, that type of thing can happen. And it just takes me calling and say, will you just make some damn shots, please? You know, and just put the ball in the basket. And it starts to go in.
You're so smart.
There you go, man. It's a simple game. 2 basketballs fit in one rim. It shouldn't be that hard to do. I tell them all the time, 2 of them fit in there. I'm just asking you to put 1 in. Just put 1 in.
Yeah, it seems pretty simple.
I really like this lighting theory, though. This is amazing.
No, that's a real thing.
I hadn't even considered.
I was there in Boston when he went out to shoot, and he was like, that rim ain't right. And I'm like, what? And they came out and they measured, and I'm like, imagine how fine-tuned you have to be able to eyeball a rim. And it wasn't off by like a foot or whatever. You know, you've been to a park where they got the short rim or whatever. It was like an inch, maybe an inch and a half. And he could tell. He could just look at it like, no. It sounds egotistical, but it's also like, yeah, it's a great litmus test. Like, why? Well, because I was missing.
That's right. Right. The ball wasn't going in. It wasn't going in the right way. So something had to be off. Something was wrong there.
You remember, Brandon, the strobe light glasses story that I did about how Kawhi Leonard and Stephen used to wear strobe light glasses while they're training. And Michael Jordan used to do this because he was simulating what it was like to see all the camera flashes when he was playing, which is such a flex. Like to be like, yo, when I'm practicing in a practice gym, like everything's so easy because there's not all these camera flashes. So we got to get strobe lights in here to simulate how many people are taking pictures of me when I play basketball.
We've used those glasses quite a bit in the past and still do to this day for different things. So, yeah.
We got to ask about something that Steph's not world-class at, which is dunking.
Dunking the ball.
He dunked for the first time on Saturday. And it's because Jerry Stackhouse essentially dared him to do it.
Tar Heel. Yeah.
That was the story I got like an hour ago at shoot-around. I asked him, I said, what put it in your head to try to dunk the ball? And he said, well, Jerry Stackhouse told me at shoot-around today that he felt a dunk was coming tonight. So I had to get that done for him. And I think it took a lot of energy out to get that dunk in, but he got up there and got it done. And he dunks at the end of every one of my workouts. I'll say that for 15 years, there is a lob, catch, and a dunk at the end of every single workout. So I've seen it a bunch. I knew it could happen, but I think he's right. That might be the end of the dunking line from a game standpoint. That one right there in Philadelphia.
Maze, anytime Jerry Stackhouse tells you to do something, you do it, man.
You do it.
I guess so.
It's a good idea.
Immediately, that day.
He is not the guy in the gym you want to mess with. That's not the one. He's not the one to
play with. Do you have any
with
Stack stories from back in the day?
No, there's some stories that like live in North Carolina legend about Tyler Hansbrough and Jerry Stackhouse. Some of those were good on the Jerry Stackhouse end. Some of those were better on the Tyler Hansbrough end. There's some of that out there, but I just know that everybody in Chapel Hill knows that Jerry Stackhouse is not the guy to play with.
Brandon, appreciate you coming by, swinging by, and enjoy the game tonight.
All right, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Maybe Stack has the most open third eye that he was predicting Stephen Curry dunking. That's incredible.
He didn't predict it. He just told him to do it.
That's one way to predict it.
If it told me to dunk, I'd find a way to dunk that night. I don't know how. I'll figure it out, though.
What does that look like? You doing your own research? Are you doing studies yourself? Are you in the lab on a nightly basis? What are you doing?
Do your own research.
Do your own research.
Do your own research. Do your own research.
Doing your own research.
I'm not a scientist. I'm not here to tell everyone that this is it. For me, it's just giving everyone a chance to do their own research and find their own knowledge.
So usually I do my own research, but I'm not the only person who does his own research. And, you know, 5-star Illuminati Army General Amin Elhassan, this week, I'm going to pass the research baton to you.
Thanks, Tom. You know, Shams Charania reported a few days ago, or I guess a week ago now, that Joel Embiid would be out for the remainder of the season, right? And one of the things that a lot of people start talking about is, wow, another Embiid injury. This one sounds really serious, where they're going to have to do something to his hip to make sure the legs are the same length and all that stuff. What if he'll never be the same? So the thing that started floating out is people talk about the medical retirement policy for the league, also known as the disabled player retirement exception. And the question there comes down to what all that means. A lot of people talk about, if they do this, then his salary comes off the books. And that's just true. But I didn't see a whole lot of explanation. So I went and I did my own research to explain to you people what that actually entails. So, number one, the Sixers would have to waive Joel Embiid. And they'd have to waive him with knowledge of this injury. So basically, you can't trade Joel Embiid to another team who then gets to take advantage of this policy. You're the ones who discovered the injury/illness, so you're the only team that can take advantage of this policy. Number two, 1 year later, so they got to go a year of having that salary on the books, they can apply for relief. And that's 1 year after the player's last game played. So it'll be a year after February, whatever, was the last time Joel Embiid played. Another thing to point out here, Joel Embiid gets every last dollar that was guaranteed to him by his original contract. So this isn't about the Sixers saving money. It's about them not taking the cap hit and having flexibility on the salary cap side. Number three, after that year in the application, then Joel Embiid has to be reviewed by an independent doctor jointly selected by the NBA and the NBPA. If you remember Chris Bosh, who was another high-profile guy who went through this with the blood clots, he had like a bunch of doctors that he had to see, and all of them basically said no. And that is the thing that allows us to know that Joel Embiid's injury is in fact real and not some made-up kind of hoax for him to get his money and the Sixers to get out of cap relief.
That's where I was going with this. I feel like we ran through this with Chris Bosh, but I had forgotten all the different stipulations that have to go into it to get to the point where you can actually execute this.
Imagine for a second the doctor says, yes, his career is over. It's a wrap. And the Sixers apply and they get approved for it. This application process happened a year after the injury happened. Joel Embiid gets his money and the Sixers get the cap relief. Well, guess what? What happens if Joel Embiid proves the doctors wrong? He says, my career's not over yet. And he diligently works back and he ends up saying, I'm ready to play in the NBA again. Well, number one, the Sixers can't ever sign him again. Number two, if he plays for another team and plays 25 games in one season, doesn't have to be in a row, it just has to be 25 games in one season. Guess what? The salary gets reinstated back onto the Sixers salary cap books.
Oh.
What?
I was going to say, does another team have to pick up the check? No.
They signed him for minimum. He's theirs for minimum, but the Sixers will be on the hook. We actually have an example of this, guys. Darius Miles in 2008, 2009, he was playing for the Blazers. He got injured. They ended up doing a medical retirement for him. He ends up playing 10 games because back then the threshold was lower in the old collective bargaining agreement. It was 10 games for the Timberwolves, I believe, and also the Celtics. And because of that, the Blazers got hit with the salary back on their books. How about that?
That is nasty work. So if you're going to medically retire Joel Embiid, you better be 150% sure that he is going to be retired.
Maze, it would be the sum of all fears if they medically retired him. And then he diligently works on a comeback, comes back, gets with another team for minimum, putting the salary back on the Sixers books while watching him flourish because we know he's a great basketball player.
last week, Jeff Bachman asked us to look into the number of 140 plus point games, and we've had developments on that front. So now, Tuesday, February 25th, in overtime, but still counts, Grizzlies 151, Suns 148. And then on Sunday, March 2nd, the Thunder put up 146 points against the Spurs, taking us up to 140 plus point games with 6 since Jeff Bachman asked the question.
I'm beginning to wonder if Jeff Bachman asked the question or if he set some events in motion, because this is curious. My third eye and my third ear are both ablaze. You know what? I'm getting a third nostril. I smell something.
Oh.
Where would the third nostril be?
The third nostril still has to be on the nose.
Like slits?
I think we're looking at a total recall situation. I mean, right in the middle.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that one.
So as long as there are more 140 plus point games this season, we'll keep our third eyes, ears, and nostrils locked in and keep updating it for you.